Hooked up, baby. Hooked up. Big fish. Big fish.
What is up, guys? It's Thomas Massa coming at you with another WannaBOutdoors video. This week I'm doing some lake trout fishing in the Black Hills. More specifically, I'm trolling for lake trout. I have never fished for lake trout out of my boat before. I've gone on some guided trips where we trolled spoons and crankbaits. So I kind of watched what those guys were doing and took what I knew about fishing deep for walleyes, which deep for walleyes is 30 foot. As you'll find out in the video, 30 foot is way shallower than I ever fished for lake trout. But I took what I knew from fishing deep for walleyes and what I had learned from the guides that I had been with and kind of put those two together and really taught myself, took a little bit of knowledge and then taught myself the rest on how to fish out deep for lake trout. I'm not going to say I'm an expert, so if you're looking for the expert inside take on how to troll for lake trout, this is not the video. But this is somebody who's beginning to learn how to lake trout fish, and I think I've got it figured out. I've been very successful doing it in a lake where they are heavily pressured and there's not a ton of them. So I hope you guys enjoy the video.
Hooked up, baby. Hooked up. Big fish. Big fish. We are hooked up. On the white salmo. Kind of seems like he's in that other line already. I'm trying to keep him up and out of it while I'm reeling it up. How am I gonna net this thing? I haven't even thought about any of this. I didn't think I was gonna hook up at all. I don't think it's a giant by any means, but it's definitely a fish. 110 feet of line out. Strong. It's really strong. I gotta get the snap weight off by myself. Okay, snap weight's off. We're on the fish now. Oh, I can see it. Oh, it's big, dude. It's big. It's big. It's real big. He's got that bait hammered, too. Yes! Yes! Dude! That is so cool. That is so sick. I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this fish. Guess we can go into the middle up here with him. Kinda wanna spin around here. Yeah, we'll go to the middle of the boat with him. Actually, we could just hang him over the edge too. How cool is that? That's a laker. An actual lake trout right there. Okay, calm down, buddy. Let's go get a length on it. All right. That is a 20, almost a 28 incher, not quite 28 inch lake trout. Nose on, he falls just a little short of 28. Get her back. Down she goes, kicks strong. Let's go. That's so cool. Okay, well, let's get that rod back out. I think we're gonna pull the spoon and put another crankbait on. That's interesting. Fish on, fish on. Gotta be a Laker, dude. Gotta be a Laker. Too deep out here for anything else. Big fish. Yeah, big heavy fish. Big fish. Oh, just heavy, dude, just heavy. Get him out of their line. So heavy, dude. Such a heavy fish. He's a snap weight. Sucked the knot down. This is probably the hardest part of fighting one of these by yourself, is getting this snap weight off of here without losing the fish. They're still there. They're still there. I think he's still there. Oh yeah. He's got it good too. Oh, he's outside the net. Dang! It wasn't a giant, but that does suck. Oh, well, that'll happen. Big fish. Big fish, dude. So much heavier than the last one. Big fish, dude. Dude, this thing's big. I'm having a hard time moving this fish. Come on, let me make up for that one I lost this morning. A multiple that I lost this morning, actually. Some big head shakes, man. Make sure he can run if he wants to. Some big head shakes. It's gotta be a tank, dude. Just an absolute giant. I just can't even do anything with it. Oh, I'm nervous. I don't want to turn the drag up, but like I kind of want to be able to reel. I kind of want to be able to gain on him somewhere. I can't even gain on him when I'm letting back to him like that. don't know, man. I'm sure he's got it good, but the longer you fight him, he just takes one big head shake to the wrong side. I think we're gonna try to bring him up. Okay, we gained 10 feet on him there. It's the first time we've gained on him in quite a while. Let's see the snap weight. All right, I got the snap weights right here. Snap weights right here. This makes me so nervous right here, though. Okay. Just us and the fish now. Just us and the fish now. Oh my gosh, is it heavy? The crankbait's running in his mouth. You must just barely have it, man. Don't head shake. Turn the drag down. Turn the drag down. Oh my God, it's big, it's big, it's big. It's big and he's barely hooked. Barely hooked. He's got my other line too. So barely hooked. Yes! 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 Oh my gosh, that feels so good. Yes! Yes! An absolute mess. But we got him. Oh, let's calm down here, bud. We're just gonna get a quick measurement on you and get you back. That's so cool. That's so cool. Yes. Finally got her done. That's 2 of them on that crankbait. That is a 25 and 3/4 probably. Beautiful Laker. So let's get her back real quick. It's a long fight. It's a really long fight. Oh, let's go. That gets the old heart pounding.
All right, guys, since this is going to be kind of more of a how-to video on how to catch lake trout, I want to spend more time talking about what I'm doing and a little less time focusing on the fish. As cool as lake trout are and as insane as the fights are, I want to spend more time on what I'm doing. So let's start with rod and reel first. Reel really doesn't matter. These are some older Okumas that my dad had. Line counter is extremely important though. You have to have a line counter fishing for these fish. You could use segmented colored line, but when you're putting 120, 130 feet of line out, it's hard to remember what color corresponds with what footage. So a line counter is a must. As far as fishing big snap weights, your rod is way more important than your reel. These are Shimano TRDs. Any kind of dipsy diver rods are really going to be what you're looking for. And that's exactly what the Shimano TRD is. They're cheap rods. A lot of guys are like, man, to go invest in 4 trolling rods, I'm gonna spend $500, $600. Your reels are gonna cost you some money. The line counting reels are not cheap. I wanna say I got the TRDs for like 35 bucks a piece. They're not expensive rods, and they handle big fish extremely well with that giant weight on there. They work. I'm running 20-pound mainline braid to a 15-pound fluorocarbon leader. We'll get to that leader here. So the leader, I actually tie it to the bait. This one is all tangled up in the hooks on this bait. I actually tie the leader. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Let's see if we can get it to focus. The leader I actually tie to the bait and then make a loop in the end of the leader, and I put my snap back through the loop. So I've got a leader on every one of my baits that looks like this. Every bait that I've fished for lake trout has got a separate leader on it. And I think that's better than putting a leader on your rod, because if I do hook a rock, snap off, I'm not sitting there retying a leader onto the main line. I'm reeling that in, throwing a different plug on it, and I'm fishing right away. I can worry about retying another leader on a plug that looks like that one while I've got a lure in the water. And I'm fishing by myself. 2 rods is all. I'm not covering a lot of ground. I want to be able to have two lures in the water at all times. Let's get to the weight. So this is a 10-ounce snap weight. It's made by Gator Baits Tackle, I believe is the name of the company. I don't love these big clips like this. Just not a super big fan of the big clips, but that's about all. I mean, that's about all they have. My dad's changed them out for like big snaps before. Those are harder to get off. These are pretty easy to get off. You just pinch them, and then you just pull down away from your main line, and your knot will slip off of the little peg that's in there that holds the line, and then you're just fighting the fish. Especially by yourself, you want to have something that's easy to take off, and these are that. There's definitely a little more drag, so you gotta let out some more line to get down there, but they're easy to take off, which is more important to me than the drag. And then lastly, let's talk about lures. The 2 lures that I caught fish on. Caught my first one on this. This is a Salmo. They make, I don't know how many sizes they make. I'm not a big Salmo guy. I bought a couple of them because I was like, yeah, they dive deep. Those will be good for Lakers. This is a more medium-sized Salmo bone. It's not a true white. It's got a little yellow in it, so it's a bone-colored Salmo. Giant diving bill on it. This bait has got a little more kick to it, a little more outside wobble to it, versus this bait, which is what I caught I lost that one right at the net. Tragedy. It's gonna happen when you're fishing by yourself. It's hard to net fish like that by yourself. Big long rod, big net, lots of hooks. It's gonna happen. But anyway, I lost that one and caught the other one on this lure. I'd had it on for about 5 minutes when that one that got off hit it. This is a KVD jerkbait. It is, I mean, you look at the bill on it and you're like, it's a good thing I have that weight, because that bill would not be getting down there. I'm getting down. This bait would probably dive 10 feet, 9 feet, and that Salmo might dive 15, 16. So that weight is extremely important to get down to those fish. But anyway, yeah, it's a sexy shad, great color. I think they're kind of like that white. They're eating smelt in that lake. So I mean, the long, slender, white body makes a lot of sense. Let's get down to technique a little bit. We've gone over what I'm using. Technique a little bit. I'm trying to keep the boat going anywhere from 1.5 to like 2.2 miles an hour. I don't know how all these crankbaits run. So you start going faster than 2.2 and you can run into problems where your crankbaits are wobbling way off to the side and maybe even rolling, which you really don't want to have. It's a good way to get lines tangled up. My boat's not super wide, so those 2 lures with 115 feet of line out to the weight and 40 back from the weight to the lure, I've got a lot of room to pull together towards each other if they were to flop like this and flop back into each other. I haven't had that happen yet, but I think that's a big part of that is I'm keeping it under 2.2 miles an hour. I had, the first bite was 1.9 miles an hour. I had one of my other ones, the fish that I lost was a little bit of an inside corner, so that inside rod's going a little bit slower at like 1.7, so he was probably 1.6. And I had that last bite going about 2 miles an hour. So there's not a speed that they want, but I think that 1.5 to 2.2 is a good place to start for them. I want to try going faster once I find some crankbaits that I know are going to run true at 2.5, 2.6. It's really hard to get a crankbait to run slower than 1.5, so I don't think I'll end up trying slower at all. As far as line, what I'm having out as far as line, so I caught my first one in like 92 foot of water. I had 115 feet of line out to the weight. I put 40 feet of line from the weight to the lure, and that's just to give you some room. I'm by myself. I don't have a ton of time to take the weight off and get the net if I put 10 feet of line out there. But I don't want that thing a mile back there because I want to be able to watch my graph, and if I see it coming up, I want to be able to reel up and have that bait come up with the weight. And then if I see it going back down, I want to be able to drop down the edge of that drop off. So if I've got 100 feet of line out behind the weight, I can't really drop that weight and have that lure fall with the weight. It's gonna be sluggish behind there when I react the weight to what I'm looking at. Just tying a loop knot in my line, a slip knot, and putting the weight through that. The fish usually hit it hard enough to suck it down onto your weight, which is why it's important to have something that comes off easy. And then it just pulls out every time, so you got to retie it every time you hook a fish, or snag. Snag will pull it out too. That's pretty much what I'm doing, guys. There's not a whole lot to it. I'm trolling the same plugs I'm giving them 2 hours, and then I'm changing colors and changing sizes and changing the kinds of wobble that I'm getting, and those are the only 2 that have worked. I've trolled 4 whole days now, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I've had good success for trolling for 4 days. One day was in the rain, they just weren't going at all. Another day, there was a lot of other boats out there, and I just couldn't really get to the spots I wanted to get to and fish, because I'm driving around people and not staying close to the areas I wanted to be. The 2 days that were good were the first day I was ever out. I caught the first one, and the second day I ever went out, I caught 2, and I had a 3rd rip. And I mean, yeah, I'm pretty confident in what I'm doing, even though I haven't done it a ton. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully you learned something if you're here to learn about lake trout fishing. Even if you aren't here to learn about lake trout fishing, you should have learned something about fishing deep with snap weights. It's definitely, there's an art to it. It's a lot of correlating different numbers, 32 feet of line out goes with 20 feet. 80 feet of line out goes with 60 feet deep. There's a lot of correlating numbers like that and memorizing and trying to figure out where this curve between your drag and your weight and your speed, where your bait is actually ending up, so you can run it. If you see a cloud of bait on the graph, you can run it through that cloud of bait. Or if you see a big mark, you can run your lure 2 feet over the top of that mark. There's a lot of little math. I guess you can call it math. It's more just like memorizing numbers. You'll hit the bottom once and you'll be like, oh, okay, and you lock it into your brain that's that many feet of line out hits bottom in that depth of water. And then it's a lot of just memorizing those numbers over and over again for different water depths and different speeds. Yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This was one that I'd been looking forward to making for quite a while. So glad you guys made it this far if you did, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next week.